Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's webinar. I'm Angela Torres, the Marketing Manager at Streakwave Wireless, and we are excited that we are now partnered with SoundVision Technologies, adding their brands TruAudio, VSSL, Unified Copper, and Forge to our distribution lineup. I am joined with Chase Harrison, EVP Global Sales for SoundVision Technologies, as he will be walking you through today's presentation, an introduction to SoundVision Technologies and their Pro AV brands. Each of these brands are uniquely positioned and have the products to build premier sound system and how to stream music easily. If you're interested in selling products manufactured by SoundVision and their affiliates, please contact your Streakwave account manager, sign up for the dealer program.
All right, well, thank you again, Angela and the Streakwave team for inviting us to present to all of you, and thank you for all of your time. Obviously, we understand your time is money as you are running your businesses, running your teams, and servicing your customers. It's not easy to be able to step away and devote an hour to learning about a new brand or a new solution. So we appreciate, again, your time. We hope you find it very valuable. I think Angela probably mentioned this. I'm sorry again for the technical difficulties, but we want to handle question and answer throughout the entire presentation. So if you wouldn't mind dropping that into the question box, Angela and myself will work to get those answered throughout the presentation. We found that typically, especially covering some of our lines, there's questions that a lot of people have, either they hesitate to ask questions about, or they'd like to get it answered right away so that we don't forget about it near the end of the presentation. So please don't hesitate to throw that in there. And we will go ahead and get started. So I want to start out a little bit and tell you a little bit about who we are, where we've come from, and then talk to you a little bit more about the turnkey solutions that we are now offering through our partner Streakwave. For those of you who maybe haven't heard of any of our other brands before, I want to kind of bring this all full circle so you understand again where we've come from and really kind of get an understanding of where we're going. SoundVision Technologies is a company that has existed for about 20 years. We founded a company by the name of TruAudio, and TruAudio has really been kind of our cornerstone brand. And we service the Pro AV market. We've only gone to business through a network of certified installers and dealers, allowing us to be a very unique company in that we have a number of different value propositions, specifically margin protection and ease of doing business, and things we'll get into here in just a minute. But over the 20 years, the cornerstone brand TruAudio has allowed SoundVision Technologies to springboard into a number of different other technologies and brands, and we are now grateful to Streakwave to be able to now offer that to their network of customers as kind of a turnkey audio solution. So we bring to the table TruAudio for speakers, VSSL for streaming, Current Audio as an alternative for speakers, and then Unified Copper is our bulk cable line for just racking and pad mounts and an iPad mounting solution, which we will cover the 4 core brands that Streakwave is launching within their ecosystem: TruAudio, VSSL, Unified Copper, and Forge today. Before we get too far into about us, I want to introduce you to the account team that supports Streakwave. This is really where all the magic happens, is within this account team. As you work with your Streakwave Wireless sales team, they will be looping in our SoundVision account team. Over here on the left, we have Trevor Woodbury. He's our Director of Sales West Coast. Jimmy Lindell is our East Coast Sales Director. And then for those of you that are coming to us from international markets, Streakwave International Markets, we have both Dallin Kaufman and Yvette Kelsey, who are our Directors of International Sales. And behind these 4 individuals, we have a full team of inside sales professionals that support order fulfillment, tech support, billing, the whole gamut. So one of the nice things about working with SoundVision is you're working directly with the manufacturer of these brands. We're not any sort of independent third party or independent sales organization. You have direct access to tech support, product fulfillment, product development, the whole gamut. So as you start to get to know these individuals, see that all of them have great sales experience. A lot of them are tenured with their organization. They know our solutions like the backside of their hands, and even had the opportunity to install a lot of our products. So they're quite familiar with it, and it will be a great resource to you. A little bit about, again, SoundVision, to kind of give you an idea of where we started and kind of our direction moving forward. When we were founded about 20 years ago, we were actually founded by a group of installers, very similar to probably yourselves. We were tired of dealing with big businesses that didn't have, the system integrator's best interest at heart. So we broke off and immediately wanted to create kind of this mantra that was for the installer, by the installer. And we do that in all of our product development, all of our go-to-market strategies. We try to maintain margin in all of our products. We try and be really easy to work with. We develop products that are really easy to install, that we try and shave off time that your customer, or that your install teams are actually working with customers. We are privately held. We have been and plan to be as long as our current executive team and ownership are in place. We actually have recently added a name by the name of Ben Moore to our ownership and executive team. He was a former vice president of business development for Ubiquity. So he saw some of our turnkey audio solutions, was actually able to put some in his own places of business in his residence, and was excited about where we're going. So we're excited to be able to have him and be able to leverage his expertise as we develop our channel. We are based in a little small town out of down in southern Utah, a place called St. George, Utah. If you're not familiar with St. George, if you know where Las Vegas is, if you jump in a car and drive basically due east about an hour and a half, you'll run into our corporate offices. So count that as kind of an open invitation. If you happen to find yourself visiting Zions National Park or in St. George, Utah, or are in Vegas, we would love to invite you to come up and visit our campus here. We have an experience center. You'll be able to visit the sales team. Everyone's based here in our corporate office. So even though we are in a small little town, southern Utah, we actually are southern Utah's largest shipper with UPS specifically, and we are very much a worldwide brand. We ship and sell our products in every market across the globe. We have warehousing facilities not only in Utah, but also in Georgia to service our East Coast. And then we have facilities over in the Netherlands as well as in China as well that allow us to really get product anywhere in the world within just a couple of days' time. So again, rest easy, we're dealing with a large organization that is kind of worldwide, recognized worldwide. As far as some of the things that set us apart at SoundVision, we obviously believe very heavily in price protection. We monitor all of our various channels and partners, make sure that everyone is kind of playing by the same rules. We understand what it's like to have margin in your business, to obviously feed your families, roll your trucks, and cover payroll. So we want to make sure that you can count on that as you partner with SoundVision and all of the brands that you want, that we'd like to see you incorporate into your businesses. We have industry-leading warranties on all of our products, which we'll talk about more specifically here. But again, trying to show you that for the dollar, having us inside of your projects will result in fewer truck rolls, warranty claims, and we're all about obviously keeping money inside of your business. Again, designated contacts, I mentioned that obviously as you work with the Streakwave team, they will have access directly to all of the resources that SoundVision has to offer. We kind of mentioned some of the other selling points about SoundVision. Obviously, we're for the installer, by the installer. Everyone or most people on staff have had some sort of system install or integration experience. For those that don't, we encourage that. We actually try to get them out working with our dealer customers, install customers, so they have an idea of what it's like to get out there, turn the wrenches, cut holes in walls, run wire, the whole gamut. As far as those warranties, as I mentioned earlier, all of TruAudio, anything that's branded TruAudio, that's a speaker that can go inside of a building, whether that's inside of a residence or inside of an office space, that is covered by a limited lifetime warranty. Anything branded TruAudio that is outside or specifically rated for outside, or any of our electronics, be it subwoofers, amplifiers, you name it, that's covered by a 5-year warranty. And then VSSL itself is covered by a 1-year, which we'll spend a little more time on those products here in just a moment. Just a general reminder as we start kicking off some of the discussions around products and the intro into some of our turnkey audio solutions. Please go ahead and jump your questions into the question box, and we'll get those addressed on the fly here. So we're going to first start with VSSL. For those of you maybe who are not familiar with VSSL, the brand itself is about 6 years old. We came to market with the unit that you see right here on the very bottom first. It's called our A6. And then we have subsequently came out with our A3 and then our A1, which are all pictured on your screen. To kind of give you an idea of what VSSL does, Our product development team, 6 or 7 years ago, started thinking, it's really a shame how complicated it is to start incorporating music into, your residence, your home, your place of business. Whereas music providers have made it so easy now that we can stream to any of our mobile devices, be it Android or iPhone, our tablets, our PCs. But if we ever wanted to play them through speakers that are found in our home or our business, it becomes quite difficult, quite costly. Excuse me. Kind of give you an idea of that complication. We've kind of put together this eyesore of a slide. Obviously, left, you still have to set up an account with your preferred streaming service, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, YouTube Music, whatever it may be, Deezer, Tidal. Then you have to take those credentials and dump them into some sort of a platform. In this scenario, we're using Sonos. You have to use the Sonos app, log in with the Sonos app. But it's not just Sonos. I don't want to just pick on Sonos. We've got Control4, you've got Crestron, you've got Den and Helios. All of them work very, very similarly in that you have to add your account credentials to their ecosystem, and then you have to continue to live in their ecosystem to try and play your music. For those of you maybe who have lived in Spotify or Pandora or any of the other music apps, you'll know that there are certain things that you can't get outside of the app. Social media functionality, playlist sharing, the liking and suggested music tracks, all those things kind of go away. So 6 years ago, we thought, well, why can't we just make it so that when somebody enters into their residence or their office, they can just continue to live in whatever music app they know and love and have it, play through the speakers that are inside of their building. So we've done that, and we've done it successfully, and we are rapidly taking over market share from a lot of those major players that I previously mentioned. Inside of Vessel, we're actually using one of 3 music streaming technologies or architectures to allow you to continue to live in whatever music app you know and love, and then play that directly to any of the zone or zones that are present inside of your project. Those 3 streaming architectures that are present are Spotify Connect, AirPlay, now AirPlay 2, and Google Cast built-in, also known as Chromecast built-in. So essentially what we're able to do because of these 3 streaming architectures is you can take your Android, your iPhone, your iPad, your Android tablet, your MacBook, your PC, and you can continue to live in whatever music app you know and love and push it via one of these architectures straight to your speakers. To kind of give you an idea of what that accomplishes, obviously we've got a much cleaner slide here. You use one of the streaming architectures, which I'll show you in a video here in just a moment. That communicates directly with our Vessel amplifier that then is connected directly to our speakers. So we're cutting a lot of steps out of that, and we're allowing your end users to continue to live in their music apps and drive the speakers that they've invested in, whether it's in their warehouse, their conference rooms, their executive offices, their kitchens, their bathrooms, their home theaters, their outdoor audio, you name it. Vessel can come to the table and provide a very easy to use streaming solution inside of your projects. To kind of drive home this point, I'm just going to play a quick little video here that shows you exactly how you would interact with Vessel on a day-to-day basis. So this is showing off AirPlay 2. Go in and obviously kick off your music stream. You're coming down to the bottom of the menu, and then now you're able to select whatever zones you like to actively cast or send your music to. You can see they're named inside of the screen there. We're sending to the den in the garage. And that's that easy. Now you're playing the song. Pandora, we're going to use Pandora to show you Google Cast. Though with Google Cast, you can actually, or with Pandora, you can use Google Cast for AirPlay. And now Spotify finally. And the nice thing about Spotify, the one thing I'll mention really briefly, is that Spotify will allow us to use not only Spotify Connect, but you can also use AirPlay 2. You can also use Google Cast right within the Spotify app. It doesn't really have a preference. You can use whatever technology you like the best. I wanted to spend just an extra second on AirPlay 2. Historically, AirPlay has had a little bit of a negative connotation around it because of things like, well, when I'm airplaying my music, sometimes it's a little spotty, or whenever I get a phone call or a text message, and it interrupts my audio stream. With AirPlay 2, launched at the end of last year, as far as in all of Apple's ecosystem, and us as a manufacturer worked to launch that obviously beginning of this year. It now gets rid of all of that kind of that negative connotation or negative stigma. Any of the audio interruption problems that existed have now been taken care of. Also, one really nice feature about AirPlay 2 is you can actually group audio zones on the fly. So you can come into a project and group multiple zones, vessel zones on the fly, or you can start incorporating things like Apple TVs, the Siri HomePod, and so on. So quickly before I jump into the actual amplifiers and kind of what's happening behind the scenes, I wanted to mention that because of how closely we work with the likes of Amazon and Google and Apple, we are able to, out of the box, work with right now the Google Assistant and Siri. It's a very elegant voice integration as well. It's not anything as kludgy, as clunky as maybe you've seen in the past. It's as easy as going into a room that you have a Google Mini, for example, and saying something like, "Okay, Google, play music," and that's it. From there, Google will go out and grab whatever account you've set up, whether it's Apple or, excuse me, Spotify or Pandora, and it'll start playing music in the zone that it's assigned. You can get a little bit more advanced with it and start using Google to send music into various rooms within the project. Siri is the same way. It's very elegant, very easy to use. We have gone away and made it so you do not have to do the multi-threaded commands where it's a, "Okay, Google, tell Vessel to tell to play Spotify and this in the kitchen." We've made it very elegant. It's very easy to use. You'll see we've got a lot of Vessel marketing material that you can tap into. We put together a quick little kind of minute-and-a-half video where there's a couple of kids that are walking around their house and they're using the various voice technologies to drive the Vessel system. If you've got, if you're familiar with the kids and the adults in the house that do not like to use music because it's so complicated, Vessel takes care of that, makes it really easy to use. I did mention, Control4, Crestron, URC, RTI earlier, and that it's kind of a clunky way of doing things. We understand, however, there are a lot of customers that still like to use automation systems in their projects, especially when you have things like lighting control, AV control, security, surveillance, things that you need to kind of bring under one umbrella and kind of coexist and live harmoniously. So Vessel, now we have a Crestron driver, a Control4 URC, RTI is still coming. Essentially what these automation drivers do is put the automation system in the driver's seat, but you do not need to use the automation system to drive Vessel. You can still continue to access Vessel and drive it independently, and then it'll report its status to the automation system. And then the automation system, if you wanted to, for example, kick off a movie, it would interrupt the Vessel stream and allow the movie to take over. So we do play very nice in the sandbox with Control4, URC, and Crestron. Again, RTI is still coming. I need to move the Crestron driver up into the now available. But know that we can work with them. You do not, again, need to use them. Vessel works very well for a music-only standalone solution. To kind of talk to you a little bit about the products that are available in the Vessel ecosystem. The A1 is where we'll start. This thing is like a Swiss Army knife. If you're familiar with the Sonos Port or the Sonos Amp, historically the Sonos Connect, this product is probably going to be the most similar. Denon and Hios, obviously, they have their Hios Drive and Hios, I think, Connect as well. Once again, this is going to be the one that's the most similar. However, we are giving you quite a bit more from a technology standpoint and ease of use. This thing, we literally are putting them into almost every project that we design because of how easy it is to add into those projects and how easy it is to use from an end user perspective. The A1 obviously allows you to play a single stream of music to anything you want to plug it into, and you can use the A1 with that Google Cast, with the AirPlay 2, or with Spotify Connect. You can use, obviously, you can see on the back plane here that we are giving you a number of different ways to be able to connect the A1 into whatever amplifier you need to use. For example, you got analog audio out. You also have optical, which is also known as TOS out, as well as coax. Basically, what we're giving you here is the ability to plug into any external amplifier, like a surround sound processor, or maybe you have a higher 2-channel amp, or maybe you have a large 70-volt deployment. You're doing maybe a landscape audio system, or maybe you're doing a very large commercial deployment where you need to have audio available through, you know, a warehouse, or maybe kind of in the lobby of a hotel. Also with the A1, unlike some of its competitors, we have a built-in amplifier as well over here on the lower left. Essentially what that allows you to do is take most of any of the TruAudio in-ceiling or in-wall SKUs and connect them right to the A1, so you don't need to worry about sourcing any sort of external amplifier. The A1 does that for you, and once again, it's kind of that turnkey solution with the Vessel A1, obviously a unified copper speaker wire, and then TruAudio speakers. You can go and deploy a very easy to use, very simple, very high margin audio solution to your customers. Kind of give you a few other selling points of the A1. You can hook an external subwoofer up to this, you know, those boxes that are in the home theater or in rooms where it gives you that extra kind of boom boom, what you can fill inside of a room. You can actually hook that up and have the Vessel A1 also drive that. Built into the Vessel A1, we have a high quality MIMO Wi-Fi chipset that has a high signal to noise ratio. So you can connect this via Wi-Fi if it's not easy to get a network drop to. We also are giving you our RJ45 10100 port in and out over here on the right side that you can obviously hardwire right into your network if you do not want to have it connected via Wi-Fi. Also built into the A1 is Bluetooth. It's an always on, always broadcasting. You can disable that in the Vessel app, though you do not need to use the Vessel app really for anything. The one thing I will mention briefly is we do have a Vessel app, but it's more specifically designed for initial setup. So from you as a system integrator perspective, if you want to go out and rename zones or you know, calibrate some things in the area, which you don't need to do necessarily, you can do that through the Vessel app. But once initial setup's done, your customers continue to live in that music app they know and love. The nice thing about the A1 as well is you can see some the silhouette of some feet on the bottom. Those are magnetic very quickly or removable, so you can now wall mount this if you'd like. There's no keyholes on the bottom. This also will fit on a 1 RU or 1 rack unit shelf, and you can fit 2 side by side. So if you have you know, a server rack or equipment rack and you need a number of different Vessel zones, you can use the Vessel A1. It's a very elegant, very easy to deploy solution. Obviously, we talked about A1 and its ability to really tie into any amplifier and now provide you a very easy to use streaming solution for no matter the deployment that you need to look at. Jumping into the Vessel A3 and A6, these are again kind of the predecessor to the A1, and again these are your multi-zone streaming amplifiers. Essentially, what we're doing with the Vessel A3 and the A6 is giving you the ability to hook up multiple speakers into a single unit, and then, for example, on the A3, where you'll see 3 different zones, you can actually have 3 different things playing at the same time, or you can mix and match. You can have zone 1 and zone 2 playing the same thing, and zone 3 playing something completely different. Same thing with the A6. You can have 6 different simultaneous things, or 6 different things playing simultaneously, or you can mix and match. In each one of these zones, you can custom name upon your initial setup. So you can name zone 1, for example, maybe your conference room, zone 2, your boardroom, or your executive office, zone 3, maybe is your break room. Or from a residential perspective, maybe your zone 1 on your A6 is your kitchen, zone 2 is your master bedroom, zone 3 maybe is your patio, and then zone 4 is your living room, so on. And again, you can actually, through AirPlay 2, you can group these on the fly so they can play the same thing, or once again can be kind of broken out and play their own things. Unlike the A1, the A3 and the A6 only offer a hardwired 10100 connection into the back. You see the A3 we're giving you in and out. The A6 is only hardwired in. Also, a little bit different input and output selections. Still same basic concept. If you wanted to plug in something like a satellite box or a CD player or a record player, or maybe you had maybe some music on hold that you like to also pipe through your Vessel system, you could do that as well with your analog audio inputs. And the nice thing about the Crestron Control 4 and URC drivers is we basically are turning these into an audio matrix amplifiers. So for those of you on the call who are familiar with the AV space a little bit more, you can actually take all your preamp analog inputs that are plugged into the back and make them available on any of the amplified zones on the back. So for example, if zone 1 you had a satellite box plugged in and you wanted it to make it available on your patio that's actually zone 6, through the URC Control 4 and Crestron app, you can, or a driver, you can make that happen. Also in the Vessel app, which we'll cover in a follow-up training, you can select those as well. You can actually make whatever's plugged into zone 1 or zone 2 or zone 3 available on any of the amplified zone outs. The bus outs, again, you can actually slave the bus outs into any of the other zones. So for example, if you had a pair of patio speakers on zone 1, but you had maybe a larger landscape system that still went out and was kind of littered throughout the backyard, and you were using a larger, maybe 70-volt amplifier or a different amplifier, you could actually take the bus 1 out and tell it that it will always mirror zone 1, providing a very easy to use, very expandable, very scalable solution for your audio projects. The other nice thing about the Vessel A1, A3, and A6, you can actually mix and match those inside of all of your projects. So for example, if you had a 4-zone solution for a project that required 4 zones of audio, you could take the A3 and then add an A1 for 4 zones. You could also use 4 A1s if you'd like. If you had 9 zones of audio, you could take an A3 and an A6. If you had 10 zones, you could do A3, A6, and an A1. If you have 18 zones of audio, you could obviously bring in 3 A6s. The nice thing about AirPlay 2 and Google Cast is you can actually have multiple zones playing the same thing even across multiple chassis. So it makes, once again, you're easy to scale your projects and easy for your customers now to be able to have the music they know and love in the music app available throughout their entire project. As far as this particular site, it's a little bit of an eyesore. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I wanted to just bring a couple things to your attention that are kind of the major differentiators between the 3 Vessel units. First, you've got the A6. It's obviously a 6-zone amplifier, and with that comes 2 channels, or 12 channels, excuse me. So you can see that over here. The A3 is 3 zones, also giving you 6 channels. The A1 is a single zone, giving you only 2 channels. Basically what that means is for every number of channels that you have on the back of that amplifier, you can hook up a single speaker to that channel. Now, if you wanted to get a little more technical, you could add potentially a second TruAudio speaker to those channels. So you could go up to 24 speakers here. We'd recommend that you reach out to us from a system design perspective, just to make sure that what you're proposing is capable within the Vessel ecosystem. But you'll also notice that from a power output perspective, the A6 has 50 watts per channel, as does the A3. The A1 is rated at 35 watts. I will tell you that I personally feel like those power ratings are quite conservative. Once you hook them up with any of our TruAudio speakers, you'll find that they have more than enough power and get plenty of loud and have just fantastic audio quality. Also, for your audio purists that are on the call, each one of the Vessel units actually supports all high-res music and music streaming services. We have high quality digital to analog converters, also known as DACs. We support up to some of the most highest sample rates and bit rates available. So if you've got somebody who is kind of a self-proclaimed audiophile, Vessel is a great solution for you to be able to add to your projects and support their desire for fantastic audio quality. The one thing I'm going to mention just briefly, I'm going to back up, is in regards to those channels. You'll see kind of these open slots here on the bottom of the A6. The same thing with the A3 as well as the A1. With these, actually come with what's called a Phoenix connector. It's a commercial grade, high friction termination technology that allows you to take your speaker wire and basically get a screw terminal, screw binding right on the copper. So the chances of a binding coming loose is reduced by quite a bit. So we like to use that in all of our Vessel and TruAudio technology. So, again, or products trying to minimize those truck rolls for something as simple as a wire that's maybe pulled loose. So, and then again, those are your channels. So zone 1, you'll see you've got a left and a right channel. That's your channel 1, channel 2, and so on. Just another quick reminder, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop those in the Q&A box. For those of you on the call that maybe a little more technical, want to understand a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes with Vessel and some of the things you need to have enabled on your network in order for Vessel to work. All pretty straightforward, but I wanted to again give you just a little bit more on the meat and potato side. First, A1 is a reminder, or does require a high-speed internet connection, supports both Ethernet and Wi-Fi, whereas the A3 and the A6 are Ethernet only. We always recommend that you use high quality, commonly known networking gear. You know, if you're using Cisco, Luxel, Ubiquiti, you know, Juniper, HP, that sort of stuff, great. Should work without any problems. There are some additional settings that we need to make sure you have enabled on your network stack. Yeah, as far as the you know, the desire or need to use kind of off-the-shelf, white box, no-name networking gear, it just creates problems for a vessel. So I know that there's not a lot of people out there like that, but if you do like to use that type of networking gear whenever using vessel, we ask that you don't. It'll provide a much better experience not only for you but for your customers. On your networking setup, the three most common network protocols that we'd like to see enabled are UPnP, Bonjour, and Multicast. That's how Vessel and specifically AirPlay 2, Google Cast, and Spotify broadcast their zone availability within the network. If you can't enable those for whatever reason based on security or requirements from your customers, we ask you to reach out to our tech support team and we can work on some workarounds for you. Next, just to kind of give you an idea of what Vessel likes to see from a networking architecture or topography standpoint. For a small home or even an office, obviously we see it's most common where you get an ISP gateway that's dropped. A lot of times those ISP gateways also be a modem, router, Wi-Fi combo. That's okay. Obviously, we recommend from a best practices perspective to get you know, the ISP gateway doing as little as possible and getting it into a lot of that processing requirements into, you know, your Ubiquiti, you know, router, or, you know, your Cisco gear, whatever it may be. From there, obviously the ISP gateway, we like to see you get into your router or your router Wi-Fi combo. And then if there's a network switch available, we'd like to see all the Vessel units on the same network switch, or at least all behind the same network switch or switches. Oftentimes we see Vessel units one Vessel unit plugged into the router Wi-Fi combo where they're using one of this, you know, 4 or 6 available network ports, and then they'll plug a couple others on a different network. That creates some problems. So if you can just work on getting everything behind the same network switch, it'll resolve any difficulties that you may see throughout the project. Same thing with medium to large homes or offices. You know, the major difference there obviously is we often see the deployment of access points. If you use more than one access point on the project, we strongly recommend you use an access point controller of some sort. The roaming between multiple access points, Google Cast, AirPlay 2, and Spotify struggle with that a little bit. But as long as there is an AP controller present on the project, it resolves all those specific issues. So pretty straightforward, nothing crazy technical, but if you have any further questions on that, feel free to ask them now, or we can do a follow-up training on Vessel. Moving right along here, obviously want to be respectful of your time. I want to jump right into TruAudio and now how the TruAudio products can now connect and work within your projects. Once again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, TruAudio was SoundVision's kind of cornerstone brand. We bring out a plethora of products to the table. We have a very wide and deep product line offering you a solution for pretty much any deployment or any project that you may have. The only area where we don't have solutions is if you're doing very large concert venues and you need line array speakers and some other high output requirements. But from there, pretty much we can help you out on pretty much any project. So if you come across an audio project, maybe it's your first time getting into audio and you'd like to understand how to offer TruAudio and Vessel together, we actually offer a free design service, which we'll talk a little bit more about later in the presentation. But we'd be happy to help you become familiar with how easy it is to use our products and how to design your first couple of projects. Once you get 2 or 3 under your belt, you'll see it's actually not terribly difficult to get started. And obviously, we'd love to be a major part of your business going forward. As far as TruAudio is concerned as well, we were first to market with a couple of really cool things, specifically the Ghost style grill. I'll introduce that to you here in just a second. But before we came out with what we like to call our Ghost style grill, speakers, whether it be in ceiling or in wall, they traditionally had a very thick plastic kind of border, also known as a bezel. And it used to be that you would install it on, you know, whatever material you're installing your speaker on, whether it's drywall or tongue and groove or drop ceiling. And then you'd have a hard transition into a bezel, and then you transition then again into speaker mesh. So we actually pioneered the Ghost style grill, which is essentially a frameless grill, where we're taking the speaker mesh and wrapping it over the entire surface of the speaker providing a very elegant, very clean look that interior decorators, designers absolutely go crazy for. It makes it so your transition is no longer kind of a three-step transition. It's a, drywall, for example, going right into speaker mesh. And then you can actually custom paint all the speakers and speaker mesh that is in the TruAudio lineup. Once again, providing a very custom, very unique, very clean look. But we did have that patented. We kind of violated our own patent, so now it's a free gift to our industry. Any of our peers and competitors now have the ability to use that, but you'll see that present in pretty much all of our lineup. Next, I'll introduce to you as well. We were the first and currently the only company to offer a true white on white in-ceiling speaker and in-wall speaker. For those of you that have had a chance to look at an in-wall speaker that's all black versus one that's all white, when you have a white background, it provides for a little bit harder of a transition on the eye, so you'll see some graying out. And we too also have obviously black speakers in our lineup, but the white speakers themselves, if you're kind of looking to step it up and make a very smooth, very almost a look that disappears into the wall, we feature that in our Ghost lineup. Also, again, trying to save you time and money, we in the fourth quarter will be launching our new toolless technology, where you can essentially we can go into a project and you don't need to use a screwdriver to install our speakers anymore. As long as there's a cutout or a hole ready for it, you can actually go and connect the speaker wire to the back, put it up in the hole, and there's 4 actuators that you can release and now have what we call our TruGrip technology, which as that product comes out, we'll be jumping on another conference call, doing a big training, a lot of push, so you can get an idea of exactly what that has. And then finally, I mentioned this earlier, we have a great product for the price. We have some absolutely phenomenal sounding products. Oftentimes customers are surprised, specifically dealers and integrators are surprised that we're not charging 2 to 3x what we do for a lot of our products, just based on the sheer quality and performance. Once again, we know what it's like to be bidding in a competitive situation. We want you to feel comfortable presenting and talking about TruAudio to all of your customers, and know that we will be providing a very solid price point at really any budget and type of project for you. So without further ado, we'll jump into the actual products. I want to mention these icons as you go through all of our product lineup, all of our marketing. When you check out our website, you'll see these icons present throughout all of it. And essentially what we're doing is we're taking some of the guesswork out as far as trying to design a system to get similar sounds and tonality inside of your project. So audio really doesn't need to be that complicated. As long as you stay within some best practices, obviously what we call timbre matching, having everything sound the same inside of a project, is one of the best things you can do inside of a project. And again, we try and take that guesswork out of it. So if you've got a specific speakers that you want to bid in one part of the project and you want the rest of the project to sound the same, you can use these family icons, and it'll help you again design the project. To start off introducing the actual TruAudio product portfolio to you, I want to start with one of our most fun and popular categories, and probably most explosive when it comes to growth and just the sheer market adoption that TruAudio is seeing. And that's our outdoor audio category. Probably 5 or 6 years ago and beyond, the way to support outdoor audio projects was surface mount speakers or rock speakers, which is great, and there's still a time and a place for those. We still offer those inside of the TruAudio lineup. But what's been fun in our industry is the introduction of these speakers that are actually designed to look more like landscape lights, and that are littered throughout the entire project to provide a very immersive, very emotion-evoking listening experience, and providing no longer just some background audio. With the TruAudio product, outdoor product portfolio, you can now provide a very, again, loud, emotion-evoking, now very much a foreground music listening experience. And to kind of give you an idea of what makes up our landscape audio category, is starting over here on the left, we have buried subwoofers. Outdoor subwoofers have been around for a while, but now the ability to kind of bury them and get them out of the way is very popular, widely popular by a lot of the end users that are deploying these inside of their projects. So we do have, obviously some very sharp, bright colors. That's for marketing purposes, especially when you get it on the project. Customers start seeing that stuff come out of the box and get excited at what's about ready to go inside of their project. But these are designed to be buried right in the ground. so that your exposure into the project is like this upper right-hand port tube where you only see this mushroom top. So again, very clean, very elegant design, but still plenty of power to make your most picky of clientele excited about their audio and their projects. If you can't dig a hole, don't want to dig a hole, maybe your water table is too high, ground's too hard, or maybe you just don't have room to dig a hole. We now have our hardscape subwoofers. These have been around for about 4 years now. They're designed to be above ground, stay outside year round. They are actually a down-firing 12-inch subwoofer that you can add into your projects to add that, again, that kind of that boom boom that a lot of customers have become so fond of. And then finally, the actual speakers, as I mentioned earlier, they are designed to look like landscape lights. You've got the very small, what we call our AS1 over on the right. That's a little 4.5-inch speaker, jumps into the AS2, which is now a 6.5-inch. And then you've got our AS3 that we just launched this year, which is a Canon. Sounds fantastic. It is known as our AS3. So depending on your customer's budget, depending on the volume requirements, how loud they like to see it in their project, we'd recommend one of these 3 speakers. The AS1 again is more designed for your your customers that are more interested in the visual performance in their project. If you want somebody that's got a balance of visual performance and acoustical performance, the AS2 is a great solution, great sounding speaker. And then finally, if your customer is okay with a larger speaker in their project, they still want it to look nice, but they want it to sound fantastic, the AS3 is a great way to go. And then finally, we have our own 360-degree omnidirectional speaker known as the AS360. What's nice about these is you can actually mix and match them in the project. So if you've got an area that you'd like to have some louder volumes, you're okay with bigger speakers, maybe around a pool, like around a hotel pool or a personal pool, AS3 is great. We've done a lot of kind of main street deployments where you got small towns that want to really have a nice kind of main street drag. So we've done AS1s throughout where we've mounted them in the gardens and up on telephone poles where we'll have literally 30 or 40 of these things spread from one end of a street to another. The nice thing is this deployment, specifically our landscape series, is completely scalable. You can start with 1 speaker and go up to hundreds if you want, if not thousands. You can start with 1 subwoofer and go up to many. When you start getting those larger projects, we would kindly ask that you involve our system design team so we can make sure everything's spec'd out appropriately. You have the right size amplifiers, and that there won't be any letdowns, obviously, when you deliver the finished product to your customers. All of these have the ability to run in what's called 70 volt. You'll notice the green sub over here when you start looking at its specifications. It's our one buried sub that does not support 70 volt. It only can be run in what's called 4 ohms, which is a resistance that you commonly find in your traditional speakers. You can also run all the speakers in an 8 ohm architecture as well. There's a switch on the back. Essentially what that is doing is a 70 volt technology allows you to daisy chain the speakers and the subwoofers together to one another. If you're running them in that 8 ohm architecture, you would then basically home run every single speaker wire from each speaker. There's some argument what sounds better and whatnot. We won't get into that on this call. That's up for you and your customer to decide. But at the end of the day, know that working with TruAudio and our landscape audio, we've got pretty much any solution for you. We do have packages available as you check out our website and our marketing material. These packages are just kind of there to help you understand what some of our most popular packages are and what size of projects they can go into. Again, if you use our free system design service, this is kind of what you can expect to get back from us. You can give us, an address in Google Maps, something hand drawn on a napkin, or something like this where you've actually got, a landscape architect who's got kind of an initial design or rendering down on some plans. If you can get those to us within a day or 2, or sometimes up to 5 days, depending on how backlogged we are, we can actually take those and place speakers and subs inside of those projects. Also, I just wanted to take an opportunity to show what we mean by very immersive, very emotion evoking listening experience. So in the system design, you can see we've incorporated our sound dispersion patterns. So again, as I mentioned earlier, kind of the old school way of doing things was putting a pair of surface mount speakers up around the building up here on the top side of the drawing, or maybe some rock speakers on the very bottom side of the drawing. But then if you have a pool out here, if you have bocce ball, or maybe it's an outdoor dining area, it makes it very hard to provide a very balanced listening experience. So now, thanks to TruAudio's landscape audio system, you can now provide a very balanced listening experience where you can raise the volume uniformly throughout the entire project as well as lower it. To kind of give you an idea of some of the projects that we're in and the size of projects that are out there that you can use TruAudio and Vessel for. This is actually what's called the Tribute Beach Club down in Texas. There's a number of these beach clubs down there. We have a system integrator that has worked with the owner on, I think, up to 6 projects now. And he really, really likes the sound of the TruAudio speakers and subs, and likes to kind of give that very, not only emotion evoking, but very immersive experience from the moment you walk into his project. So once you park your car and you start walking into this beach club, you can see that we are absolutely surrounding the customers in audio. And yeah, we're using our AS2s and buried sub 12s throughout the entire project, short of an above ground subwoofer over here by the bar area. But obviously we can't bury anything in the floor there. So again, completely scalable. We can go larger than this when we can shrink down to, just a couple speakers and a sub to maybe go around, your customer's pool, for example. Also, if you look at our TruAudio outdoor lineup, you'll notice something called the Ultrascape system. This is a great sounding system, but it's designed for much smaller spaces than the landscape system is. As you can see here, we're kind of looking at a small little patio area, maybe around a fire pit or a little hot tub. The reason I wanted to mention that on this call is you start working with TruAudio, we see a lot of customers kind of knee-jerk reactions. Hey, I want to use this. I want kind of that immersive listening experience, but I don't want to pay the money that maybe it comes with one of those larger systems. So they try and get into one of these, which if you try and use this for a large system deployment, you will be let down. They're designed to, to have your speakers spaced out maybe 6 to 8 feet apart. And once again, focus on those more intimate listening areas. If you keep this system inside of those deployments, you'll be very happy, and so will your customers. Jumping into distributed audio, obviously TruAudio brings a full line of distributed audio solutions to your product portfolio. Here we're giving you a couple of examples of what that may look like. Over here on the left, you've got obviously just your kitchen. We've got a pair of speakers over the kitchen area. It's great to obviously be able to listen to music as you are preparing a meal or hanging out with your family. As you move over into the centermost pictures, we've got actually a hospitality deployment up on the top, where we've got speakers going into a hotel bathroom, obviously providing some great music inside the hotel bathroom. Down below that, you have a clubhouse. We're actually using a custom link soundbar that can also pull music from the TV, but also can be used for multi-room audio. And then over here on the right, just a master bedroom where you've got a pair of speakers up and over the bed. You'll notice very quickly that those speakers do not have a big, thick plastic bezel. Those are those ghost-style grills I was telling you about. You can see it does wonders, especially if they're custom painted, like you can see over on the left, to start blending into the ceiling and not provide kind of that hard and ugly contrast up in the ceiling. Some of the speakers that make up our multi-room audio portfolio, starting at kind of our more entry-level contractor grade, we have our Shadow series, available in a 6.5-inch woofer and an 8-inch. Traditionally, we stay within the 6.5-inch, 8-inch woofers on all of our products. For those of you who are on the call, maybe don't understand why you want a different size woofer. The 6.5-inch woofer is kind of more your typical deployment for a lot of projects, especially if you have a more budget-minded customer. If you've got a customer who wants to spend a little more money and wants a little bit more what's called bass response, more of that kind of boom boom in the project, or warmer tones, if you would, an 8-inch speaker is going to give you a little bit stronger representation at low end. Also in the Shadow series, you can see our Ghost style grill is present. You can see once again we're bringing our speaker mesh around the bezel, providing a very elegant deployment inside your projects. With our Shadow, soon to show you our Phantoms and our Ghost. Excuse me. We have optional square grills available for you as well. You can actually take those and put them on the outside of a round speaker. Makes if you've got those more modern looking light fixtures in a project, maybe you've got a more modern look design aesthetic in the house, you can use our optional square grills and put those right on the outside of the speaker. And actually using a magnetic square grill on a round speaker is far easy to deploy rather than have to cut a square hole in the ceiling, which makes it look and it's quite a bit easier to do. Typically, we like to do a good, better, best in all of our speakers, giving you kind of a good, better, and a best from a functionality perspective as well as budget. So for us, a good, better, best, you've got good would be Shadows, better is Phantoms, best is Ghosts, And then inside of the Phantom and Ghost, we're giving you kind of a subset of good, better, and best. So typically with TruAudio speakers, we like to use polypropylene woofers as kind of our good option. You can see here, that's what is around here. That's kind of that smooth polypropylene finish there. And then from a better option, we like to offer a glass fiber woofer. And then the difference in those tweeters, one's a silk dome, one's a titanium tweeter. And then in the Phantom series as well, you've got a 6.5 inch and 8 inch. You also pick up a 4 inch. So if you've got, again, those kind of those smaller fixtures you're trying to line up, you can do that. And then they also feature a square grill accessory. And then also in the Phantom series, this is your first chance at getting into our what's called a dual voice coil or a stereo speaker. Oftentimes we see, deployments not large enough to be able to have multiple speakers in a single zone. So if you can only afford to fit one speaker in a zone, the Phantom dual voice speaker is a great option for you, where you can actually run left and right channel to it and have it run right to the speaker. As with the Shadows, as with the Phantoms, as with outdoor, just a reminder, you can actually take the Vessel products and use them to drive these solutions. So the Shadows and the Phantoms are designed to, you can wire them right into the Vessel A1, A3, and A6. On those landscape solutions I mentioned earlier, we would typically see an A1 plugged into a Crown amplifier that you can purchase from us as well. And that Crown amplifier is going to be used as the power supply for all the speakers and subwoofers that are throughout the project. Moving into the Ghost category, again, kind of a good, better, best inside of the Ghost series as well. Here's that true white on white speaker. It's called our GP6 as well as our GP8. It's a very clean, very eye-catching speaker. It's one of our most popular speakers by volume and by revenue. There you can see we're giving you poly woofer, glass fiber woofer over here on the left. And then finally in the middle, this is where you start picking up our carbon fiber woofer, which is kind of our most signature elite in-ceiling line or material. The nice things about the Ghosts and the Phantoms is they can also be used for home theater or conference rooms, surround sound deployments. We also offer some home theater speakers as well that I'll show you here in just a minute. But we design our Ghost speakers to be able to, so they're super efficient. They can be used with products like Vessel. And if you also want to be able to come in and throw more power at them, say 100, 150 watts behind like a surround sound processor or some other high power amplifier, they're capable of working with those as well. We were first to market with our quick turn custom link soundbars. These are a very elegant, very clean solution, especially for the likes of a living room, for example, or a conference room TV. If you can't cut speakers into the ceiling or into the wall, yet you still want to provide it either a single kind of a mono speaker stereo for left and right, or you want to do a full 3-channel to start into a surround sound deployment. You can use our custom linked passive bars. They can be turned around in 3 business days. So if you get an order from a customer and you need it, and it's a Monday and you need it shipped out by the end of the week, you can get that to us. We'll turn it around in 3 business days. There is a rush option available where we can turn it around in a single business day and get it shipping from our Utah facility. And again, these are designed to look like they are part of a television. As I mentioned earlier, in kind of this distributed audio, you'll notice here the soundbar it looks like it's part of the TV. It looks like it was made to go with that television. That's the nice thing about these soundbars is they are very shallow depth. They can be married up with pretty much any major manufacturer's flat panel display on the market right now, and then you can custom cut those to support a 47-inch TV all the way up to a 95. Another thing we're trying to do to make your life a lot more easy is we have 4 fixed prices. So you can see we've got a couple of different finishes. We've got a poly woofer, it's that darker color woofer, and then we also have our carbon fiber woofer. So if you use a smaller bar that supports the 47 up to a 62-inch bar, no matter how wide you have us cut that, the price is fixed. So you can actually specify that in your projects and have that in your bid software to make it really nice and easy to use. You don't have to come back to us and wait for us to turn around a bid. In this same form factor, we have a custom powered option as well. That's brand new this year. If you don't want to have to worry about a surround sound amplifier or replacing amplifier inside of a project, our custom link soundbar, it features all the great benefits of the custom link soundbar as well as a 3-day turnaround, but now we have an amplified version as well. Dealing with TruAudio, we have a full line of subwoofers, in ceiling, in wall, in room, high performance, economy grade subwoofers, everything in between. And we have some really cool, a new subwoofer that is an in-ceiling that has a footprint of our 8.5 inch or 8-inch in-ceiling speaker as well. So great portfolio of offerings for you. And I'm sorry, we were just about running out of time. So I'm going to quickly touch on a few other things here. We've got the home cinema offering as well, full line of in-ceiling, in-wall, and in-room solutions. You can see here we got our GHTs and our revs for an in-wall and in-ceiling. We also have our new B23 bookshelves that have been around for a couple of years. Very modern, very clean design aesthetic. And then you can partner those obviously up with our in-wall B23 series if you need a theater to really kind of impress the masses. For example, in one of our conference rooms, we have these around all of our TVs. Where TruAudio is actually known for its Bad Boy series, and that's just kind of the segue from the Bad Boy series over the last couple of years. Quick mention on the Select series. It's an award-winning speaker. If you have a customer that is looking for more of a hi-fi deployment or wants a high-performance loudspeaker inside of their theater or even the conference rooms, the Select series is going to be where you want to spend some time. This is actually what's present in our Experience Center. So if we can get you up to pay us a visit in Southern Utah, we'd love to show you what these things are capable of. And again, this our in-wall version of this was best sounding loudspeaker in its class back in 2017. Commercial, obviously, hopefully is very interesting to you. If you're not doing it or working it into your business now, we would highly encourage you to do so, especially now that you have access to it through Streakwave. Here we have a clubhouse where we're featuring some of our pendant style speakers. You can see that we got our beat drops up here in the ceiling. The customer wanted to provide some really nice background audio, but they didn't want to have anything bolted to these really nice trusses up here. So they decided to incorporate our beat drops. We have a full line of commercial products, 70 volt, 100 volt, 8 ohm capable. We have in-ceiling speakers that do have a bezel and 70 volt transformer. We also have, we're one of the only manufacturers that has a 70 volt speaker with a ghost style grill. We also have our pendant style speakers, white and black, that are 8 ohm 70 volt switchable, as well as some drop ceiling offerings as well. Surface mount 70 volt, 100 volt speaker that you can mix and match with our landscape audio products. It's all known as our LL70V6, available both in white and black. To kind of give you an idea of what a possible deployment looks like, we are seeing a lot of our system integrators take our beat drops in our subwoofers and deploy them into trampoline parks. This is actually one that was done in the Southeast called the Altitude Jump Park. 2 different zones, both driven by vessel and crown amplifiers with pendant spaced strategically throughout the project to provide a very active, very exciting listening experience. Just another idea of a deployment. I'm going to skip past this. The last 2 things I want to touch on that you can purchase through Streakwave is our Forge line. Forge has been a category for us that's been around for about 15 years. It's a very elegant, very versatile racking solution. You can actually gang them together. There's built-in wire management, cable management. There's built-in cooling fans on the top. You can get them in a 16 all the way up to 44U configuration. They come. The nice thing about our Vault series is we kind of took 2 or 3 different configurations and or kind of our 2 or 3 different lines and consolidated them into one to give you something where we've kind of taken all the guesswork out. It's very easy to use, and actually one guy can assemble a Vault rack by himself in about 2.5 minutes is the record. Having been in the industry as long as we have, we know what it's like to have to be out on a project by yourself. If you don't have an extra set of hands to install a rack, it can be quite frustrating. So the Vault series takes care of a lot of that. And again, this is available through Streakwave right now. And then finally, Unified Copper. That's a line that we've launched with Streakwave. We have a full line, obviously, of category cable, speaker wire, security wire, buried speaker wire as well. The nice thing about our stuff is we're the manufacturer. And being the manufacturer, we've gone to great lengths to make sure our boxes are super rugged and rigid. They stand the test of time. They're all stapled. They're all strapped, even down to our small, really lightweight security boxes. Those are strapped and stapled. Everything features our tangle-free nesting technology. We know what it's like to have to scrap a whole box for getting a giant knot in there. We know that installers don't like to have to deal with that. High copper purity is featured throughout all of our line. Everything's UL listed. The jacket, we have a lot of integrators that really like using our stuff because it pulls really well in cold weather. So that's available to you as well. I don't see any questions in the Q&A box, but feel free to pop those in now. We'd be happy to address them. If not, I would highly encourage you to reach out to your Streakwave sales team. As Angela mentioned at the beginning of the call, we have some far more aggressive pricing that's available to you if you're willing to reach out and talk to your Streakwave sales team and execute an agreement. As I mentioned earlier in the call, we go to great lengths to protect our pricing and make sure that those that are going to maintain that margin methodology are selling our products. Also, we will be rolling out a promotion to kind of help you get familiar with the TruAudio and Vessel products. Angela, in a follow-up email, will be sending out details around it, but essentially what it is if you buy a Vessel A1, A3, or A6, we'll be giving you the appropriate number of PP6s or Phantom PP6s for free so you can partner that with the Vessel product. So for example, the A1 supports 2 speakers. We'll send you 2 PP6s for free. The A6 obviously supports up to 12 speakers. We'll send you 12 PP6s for free. So again, the idea is you buy the Vessel, you get the speakers for free. We'd love to see you use it in your showrooms, in your homes, in your businesses. You can turn around and sell them as well and recoup your costs. While selling the speakers alone would more than recoup your cost of the Vessel and actually make it so you can make some money. So I appreciate your time. I'm sorry there for the last rush for the last couple of slides. We look forward to working with you. And Angela, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to you.
Thank you, Chase. There wasn't really any other questions during the presentation. So again, if there are any questions that do happen to arise, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at Streakwave and we'll get them answered. And as Chase mentioned, we will be setting up some type of promo and a follow-up email to everybody that attended along with the recording. And if you are interested in selling products manufactured by SoundVision and their affiliates, please don't hesitate to contact your Streakwave account manager to sign up for the dealer program. Again, thank you everyone for attending, for your time, and Chase will be doing more webinars in the near future together. Thanks.
Thanks everyone.